Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the Tranya T6. So Tranya is a brand that goes back a long time, and I used to really be into TWS. Tranya was one that actually crossed over into Head-Fi land. People who were into wired stuff were actually buying Tranya TWSs at the time because they actually sounded quite good, especially really good at the time. So a brand that's been around quite a while. You may not have heard about it, but they've definitely been around TWS circles for a long time. So the T6, sort of their high-end one. This one does a special system on a chip, which we'll talk about with aptX. And so this one sort of automatically gets promoted up, high up in their portfolio because that's a pretty expensive licensing deal to actually have that chip. So pretty cool set. This one, of course, is they call it pink, but I would say it's more of a rose gold. And case itself is actually metal, so quite premium materials. Very pocket friendly, very durable, quite nice. I mean, mostly it just feels very premium and has a very premium look to it if you're into pink or rose gold, as they call it. Shells themselves, what to notice first, you see the little circle on there. So these actually are mechanical buttons. You don't see that as often, but for those of you who hate accidental touches, that is one way to guarantee that you don't have that problem. So tips are matching color to the shell, which you don't see all that often either. But the nozzle itself is pretty reasonable. You could pretty much throw almost any tip on there, and you can kind of see they don't have a whole lot of mesh on there. It's a very, very light mesh just to keep things, from getting down in there. But hey, you don't see a very light mesh like that all that often either. So pretty cool stuff. Some things that I haven't seen in a while. It was nice to have the opportunity to listen to one of their newer sets because it's been probably a few years since I've heard one of their older ones. So the box that it comes in, not a whole lot. It's actually a very solid, sturdy case. Says Tranya T6, and I think on the side, right there, you can kind of see the new things that are impressive with this one. So multi-point connection. CVC is actually the call. I forgot what Qualcomm calls that one, but it's basically in-call noise cancellation. And then on the back, you can actually see the licensing from Qualcomm aptX Adaptve. So pretty cool, pretty high-end feature. I don't know how new it is for Tranya, but they seem to be proud of the fact that they license it, and that's sort of why it's a little more premium set. And by premium, I mean it's about $60, give or take a couple dollars. There's usually a coupon on it. If you look at it on Amazon US, I think there's a 5% coupon. So we'll say that probably varies between 5 and 10%. So pretty cool. But as I said, premium look, premium materials. This one I would call giftable. It's a very nice package. You don't really have to worry about giving someone and they'll kind of look at it and like, you just bought me something that's cheap plastic and black. This one is rose gold in metal. So like I said, they put a special system on a chip on this one, the Qualcomm 3040. So that gives you aptX codecs. On Android, it gives you multi-point, and it gives you that in-call noise cancellation. So not full noise cancellation, but in-call, and Qualcomm calls it CVC, and they've been using that one for a long time. As I said, this one does support multi-point connection, so you pair to one phone, turn off Bluetooth on that phone, pair on another phone, turn off Bluetooth, and then you turn them both on, and then the one that you hit play on your music player is the one that it picks up, and when you hit pause on that one and play on the other one, it'll actually switch over automatically. So pretty cool. You can't get simultaneous sound out of it, but that is how most of I think all of the multi-points are actually working these days. This one does have app support. There is a Tranya audio app, and what's cool about that is it actually lets you use it without logging in. There actually is a guest account just to use it, just to update your firmware, set your presets, do a custom EQ. You can do all that without signing up for an account, which is something that other brands should take notice of and implement as well. And I will say sound-wise, not all that far, and this is a liberal interpretation from Harman Sound Signature. We'll look at it in a second. Maybe this is their Tranya house variation on it, but it's actually not all that far. It's kind of a basic fun version of it. Mechanical buttons, like I said, for people who hate accidental touches. You don't see it as often, and I think even in the past, I've been trying to use that quite a bit, but a lot of the newer models use that touch, and that's all fine until you hit you start touching your ear or adjusting your hat or something, and you get lots of accidental touches, which will get annoying quickly. Sound-wise, I'll call it bassy fun with some upper boost for clarity. And let's kind of look at that almost Harman-looking graph. So you can kind of see it against Harman. So bass shelf, not all that surprising that they boost it pretty far above Harman. That's almost a standard TWS in this price range kind of move. They all tend to be bassy like that. And I think they assume that you can EQ it down to bring it down to the bass level that you prefer. But out of the box, they tend to be bassy fun just like that. So pin to gain area, that's actually not too bad at all. That's about right at 10, maybe 9 or 10. It's kind of right there where about should be. Dips down, so it's all not that fatiguing on high energy music. And then they kind of throw a boost out there for some clarity. And I think they were trying to go for a little high end sparkle, but it's sort of not quite in the right place because of ignore the 8K bit, but that kind of hits a weird spot, and then they dip down a little too far, then kind of back up where you can't really hear it. And you don't have fine adjustment of this whole area in the EQ. You can kind of poke, I think, a couple of different values, but not as fine as I wanted to really tweak this and smooth it and put a little more sparkle into it. But the rest of it, as far as kind of bassy fun playback, they kind of nailed that. And again, you can kind of see where it's not a little above Harman there for bassy fun, and again here for a little more exciting energy in the upper treble. I think that's what they were going for there. So yeah, good. I think they would call this, they have their trademark is called Sonic Max, and I would say that they just picked a good driver and tuning to avoid a very muddy sound with that signature, right? All that bass could have been super muddy, but I think they are using a decent driver, and they sort of know how to tune it enough to avoid a very, very muddy sound, which is what could have been on that bass shelf. So I would call this one decent playback. I think the experience part of being engaging and high energy, I think that could probably use some more refinement. Like I said, it just needs a little sparkle up top in the right place. And I think they were heading in the right direction. I just think that either they have to adjust the EQ, or I don't know. It just needed finer control over getting a little more air there and bringing this down so you can hear this bit, just to kind of smooth out and even all that stuff out. So on the con side, no ANC, no LDAC. I think some of the higher end features that can be found at the same price point aren't on this one. This is primarily a premium materials, aptX codec. I think that's where they put their investment. The presets need to be reworked. I think the balanced one is pretty far off from pleasing. It was not really good. And you really want the one that people are going to pick, call it Tranya House, call it Tranya Classic, call it whatever you want. They call it balanced, but it really should show off, their Sonic Max, this driver in the best light. And I think they need to really rework that. And the color, they call it pink, rose gold, whatever it is. That's probably either good or bad for you, depending on how you look at it. So that's what I got on the T6. So thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you next time.